the bracket. Let's go into it. The number one team, we already told you.
Number one team, I know it's going to be Oklahoma.
Oklahoma sneaking in there. How about that?
And welcome back to the 2024 NCAA Women's Volleyball Session Special.
Since 2019, it's the second season for Erin Mansfield as head coach. Someone's got quick fingers. Just taking the Boomer Sooner Schooner right into the bracket. Well, what we said here, we're talking about the Pitt Panthers team. We already told you they're getting the top seed in this tournament. This is a Pitt team. The impressive start to the season. I mean, 36 straight sets to start the season. They won.
Well, first and foremost, they're the best offensive team in the country, and they hold their opponent to the lowest hitting percentage. They are dominant on both sides of the ball. They've been in the national semifinal for 3 years straight and have not been able to progress to the final. They are motivated, and nobody talks about it.
You have to imagine that the experience they gained, especially with two true freshmen a year ago playing on that stage, and Olivia Babcock and Tori Stafford, they were excellent. That experience is so invaluable, gaining that at such a young age. That's the motivating factor for this Pitt team. They have been fantastic. I mean, Olivia Babcock is unbelievable. Tori Stafford is on the outside pin. She gets a lot of the garbage balls, but still is hitting an unbelievable amount at 342 on the season. I think Rachel Fairbanks is one of the most versatile players in the country at setter. I just think that Dan Fisher has done such a nice job from a recruitment standpoint of developing depth. They are such a deep team, and I'm really curious to see, is this the year that Pitt finally breaks through and makes it to a national championship title game?
Okay. Who else is excited besides Oklahoma? Let's go. Boomer Sooner, we apologize for that. Pitt is the number one team since 2018. Pitt has won more matches than any other D1 program at 197. Who will the Pitt Panthers face? Pitt watching on and seeing their name called. They already know they're that top seed. And you mentioned Olivia Babcock, Tori Stafford, Rachel Fairbanks. They're all semifinalists for the National Player of the Year.
Oh, God.
Morehead State, the automatic qualifier out of the OVC. They returned their entire roster from last year, making their fourth appearance. Moving on in our bracket, whose name is called next? It's a first-timer, the UTEP Miners.
I love it, UTEP. Pete, he better travel with you guys, baby.
Third most wins in school history this season for UTEP. And they already know who they're facing because Oklahoma crashed the party a little bit early.
I know Oklahoma.
Sooners. First appearance since 2019. Alexis Shelton, by the way, double-figure kills in 29 straight matches. Oklahoma, don't forget, in the SEC this year.
The first round
Was that their
campus.
initial reaction when we put them up early, or do we have to play that back?
They've been partying the whole time. Next, the 5 seed, the TCU Horned Frogs.
TCU, led by Melanie Parr, one of the most dangerous offensive players in the country. She's lethal from the back line, and she averages over 5 kills per set.
TCU's opponent, someone who has been in all but 2 tournaments. That would be Hawaii, their 42nd NCAA appearance. They're led by Kaylin Alexander, who averages over 5 kills and over 5 points per set. They've also got a win over SMU this season. Next up in our brackets, the High Point Panthers, the automatic qualifier out of the Big South. 5 straight Big South regular season titles. Get it, Panthers. Their 8th NCAA appearances. They three-peat in their conference tournament. And High Point's opponents, that'll be the Oregon Ducks. 5th straight appearance. A team that started the season 11-1. They boast Mimi Collier, who's top 10 in career kills in Oregon history. Continuing on in the top left portion of our bracket with the 3 seed, and that would be the Kentucky Wildcats.
Wow. Skinner's group always just seems to peak at the right time. The Cats are led by outside hitter Brooklyn DeLay. The jump that she's made from her freshman to sophomore season has been so much fun to watch, and it also helps when you have a veteran setter in Emma Gromes.
And Kentucky's opponent, that will be Cleveland State out of the Horizon. They won the Horizon League tournament as a 3 seed. It's their first 20-win season since 2017. And shout out to Emma Walker, first in career digs in Viking history. Western Kentucky making an appearance as an automatic qualifier.
Won 24 straight matches. Kaylee Cox is an absolute force on the outside, while setter Callie Barr does a really nice job running this offense. If Western Kentucky can adjust to who they're going to play, their size and physicality, I think this is a great first-round matchup.
Ooh, and who would that be?
The Minnesota
Give it to me, Minnesota. 29th appearance, 10 in a row. Melanie Schaffmaster, their setter, she's 4th among active players when it comes to assists. Minnesota, one of 8 teams with multiple wins against top 10 teams. Coming in next, out of the SEC, that would be Missouri.
Wow,
Missouri
Missouri.
has adjusted well to setter Marina Crownover, a transfer who's been doing a fantastic job feeding Michael Vernon and Jordan Iliff. They are a team to be reckoned with.
Congrats to Mizzou. Back-to-back appearances in their second season under Dawn Sullivan. Mizzou's opponent would be Texas State, who enters on an 11-match winning streak. They're the automatic qualifier out of the Sun Belt. They won their 5th Sun Belt tournament title, getting a sweep of the number 1 seed in that tournament, which was Arkansas State. Back to the bracket. Who's up next? Wichita State, let me hear you, Shockers. Out of the American, the automatic qualifier. They're back in the tournament for the first time since 2017. And get this, they won the American tournament. Got the trophy right there as the 4th seed, their first tournament title since 2020. They got a tough opponent, though. SMU, a team that was not ranked in the preseason. Then they shocked the nation, beating Nebraska and Pitt. Celia Cullen is their leader. She is their setter, drives that team, and they are a 2 seed. So here is the top left portion of the bracket, with Pitt being the number 1 team. A Pitt team who, we've mentioned it, has been so close, but has yet to win a national championship. Pitt's 3rd straight appearance in the semifinals. They have never been to the championship match. A net violation, and number 1 Nebraska marching into the championship.
Olivia Babcock, Tori Stafford, they're going to be better because of the experience that they just gained playing in a national semifinal stage.
So hungry to get back into this tournament.
This team, it's very clear that we all want it so bad.
Fairbanks, Stafford lines up.
We're excited because we're going to be back there, and it's just up to us to get past that hump.
Final Four is just a test for us every year. So every single day when we're in the gym, we're practicing like the national championship is the next day.
We're confident and we trust our trainings.
Every time we play a match, we're treating it like the national championship.
Babcock,
Solo stop.
We expect ourselves to get better every time we step into the gym. We have high standards. We know that we got to earn it. What we did yesterday doesn't matter today.
There's so much to learn from the past 3 years of Pitt volleyball. That success is awesome, but I think at the same time, coming up short is what's fueling us.
Over it at the net.
Coming in with some heat.
such a powerful swing.
It fuels me to get better at coaching, and it fuels the girls that are returning to improve their game, and the failures we've had make us better.
We talked about the weapons this Pitt team has. The balance of the Pitt Panthers, it makes them a scary opponent.
It does. They're relentless defensively. And we didn't even talk about Bree Kelly, who's hitting .580, leading the country. She just doesn't have enough attempts. So they're dangerous from every position.
So let's take you back to this bracket and see the teams that have been revealed so far. This Kentucky team, how does that interest you, Katie?
Well, I think that we've seen kind of a pattern from Craig Skinner's groups over the years. They start off a little rocky. I mean, this group started out 6-6 on the season. Incredibly tough schedule, but they were working in some new pieces, especially at middle blocker. And then they just always seem to find their rhythm, to hit their stride at the right time, and they peak going into the tournament. So I just think that this Kentucky team is in a really good place. As what, they just rattled off their 8th straight SEC title. I mean, that's incredible, especially when you had Texas coming into the conference. Everybody thought that was going to shake things up. But Craig Skinner's group has continued to maintain and be so steady in the SEC. And then when you look at the other top seeds in this bracket, you've got Oregon and then you've got SMU.
I like Oregon. I think they're very dynamic. They had to replace 5 players in their lineup, and they replaced them with the freshman setter, Kristen Klein, who's been really good. Oni Ofebe, one of the most physical middle blockers in the country, and of course, returning All-American Mimi Collier on the pin.
Yeah, how do we list her last? That's pretty impressive. All right, so we kind of teased you a little bit earlier and didn't give you who was that last top 4 seed. contenders for the top 4 overall seed. Remember, this is important because you have the chance to host all the way through the regional final. That's the round of 8. Creighton, Louisville, Stanford in the mix here. Here are their resumes. But the number 4 team in this tournament, it's the Louisville Cardinals. Wow.
They're actually at the Louisville airport right now watching at a Bourbon Bar restaurant because they just landed on a commercial flight after they lost, unfortunately, yesterday to Stanford. And so there was a big question. Was the committee going to view Louisville's 2 losses to Pittsburgh on Wednesday, as well as the loss to Stanford just yesterday, enough to drop them out of that top 4 seed? And when we talked to the committee earlier to get their reasoning behind it, they said, look, Louisville had the number 1 strength of schedule, non-conference. They also had the number 1 strength of schedule in conference. They have a higher RPI than Stanford. They also said they have no losses outside of the top 5 in terms of RPI. And then they said they have more top 10 wins than Creighton and Stanford. And they said that was significant. Those top 10 RPI wins pushed them over the edge to get them into a seeding position where now, if they make a far run into this, they could play at the KFC Yum Center and Freedom Hall all the way through right in their backyard.
Wow.
And it was close between those 3 teams. Creighton was right there as well, but they had no top RPI wins in the top 10, and that was the difference.
Yeah. Okay, so Louisville is the final top seed. Those 4 teams, chance to host all the way through the round of 8. Let's continue with our bracket. Who will
All right,
Louisville
let's continue with the
face?
bracket. Let's see who will get in.
Semifinals,
And
2
this one's going to be
Western
Chicago
seedings. It'll be
State.
Chicago State, their first ever NCAA appearance. Most wins in program history. It's their first season playing in the Northeast. The automatic qualifier out of there. Next up in this portion of the bracket,
It'll be
Illinois.
Yep,
The first
Illinois.
appearance since 2021. Raina Terry is their career leader in aces,
Wow.
points, and kills. The Fighting Illini fired up in their 8th season under Chris Thomas. The Illini's opponent, who would that be? State of the Missouri Valley. UNI, Northern Iowa, the automatic qualifier, and they're coming in hot on a 20-match winning streak. 3 straight Missouri Valley tournament titles. This will be their 26th NCAA appearance. And get this, they have won 42 straight games against conference opponents. Pretty impressive. The 5 seed in this bracket, that would be BYU.
BYU, led by Heather Olmstead, always in the battle. They're super competitive, led by a freshman setter, one of the best freshman setter in the country, Alex Bauer.
And BYU's opponent,
Wow, it's
that is
6:21
gonna
p.m.
be Loyola Chicago, the Ramblers.
They knocked off the number 1 seeded Dayton in the A-10 Conference Tournament Championship. Setter Bree Borum runs the show. She's got over 1,000 assists this season, but she's also extremely offensive. She has over 200 kills on 500 attempts. I mean, this girl must be attacking left and right. That's unbelievable.
These 2 setters love
Yeah,
Yes.
I wish I could be that. That time has passed.
Moving on, Western Michigan, they've won 13 of their last 14 matches. Setter Logan Case, by the way, is the MAC career assist leader with over 6,400 assists in her career. They're the automatic qualifier out of the MAC, and their opponent will be the 4 seed, and that is Purdue.
Wow, it's
Northern
Purdue.
Eva Hudson, one of those National Player of the Year semifinals, actually had a season-high 28 kills in a sweep of Oregon earlier, a couple of days ago. Moving on. Who is the 3 seed? Out of the Big 12, that would be Kansas.
Kansas, led by another setter. Notice we're featuring setters. Cameron Turner is special. She runs this offense, but she's also got plenty of experienced attackers. Toyosi, Anna Banjo in the middle, Caroline Bian and Ia Alnati, very experienced in all their positions.
Fun fact, Anna Banjo, also a chemical engineering major. Don't know how she does that, but impressive. Kansas's opponents, that would be Colgate. 4 straight conference tournament titles. They were able to beat Army in 5 sets. Milan Bayless, the first sophomore to be named the Patriot League Player of the Year since 2016. Congrats to Colgate. We see you dancing this year. Next up, the NC State Wolfpack.
Talk about playing to the final whistle.
I don't
A week
like
ago,
NC
State's
State.
RPI was 48. They would have likely
It's
been on the
almost
outside
6:30.
looking in on it for the 2nd straight season. Instead, they take down SMU yesterday in 5 sets. Their RPI jumped to 35. Their season extends into the postseason because of the win yesterday.
NC State's opponent, Going to be a tough one. The Florida Gators.
Uh-oh, Florida
34 straight
Gators.
Appearances. They've made 2 appearances in the finals, the last coming in 2017. I hope Kennedy Martin is icing her arm while she's watching this. She has had double-figure kills in every match of her career, had a program record 32 earlier this season. The 7th seed in this portion of the bracket, Loyola Marymount, the Lions, the first appearance since 2022. They've got back-to-back 20-win seasons for the first time since 2014-2015. And LMU going to be facing off against the Washington.
Wow, the
Huskies.
Washington.
They went 16-15 last season. Guess what? They're back in the tournament, turned things around. First appearance since 2022 in their 2nd season under Leslie Gabriel. It's been a while since we've seen this name in the bracket. Sacramento State, their first
Sacramento
appearance
State.
since 2007. They're the automatic qualifier out of the Big Sky. They upset the #1 seed, Northern Colorado, in the Big Sky Championship. And Bridget Smith had a career high, casual 30 kills. Was named the tournament most outstanding player in that match. Their opponent is going to be a program that has won more national titles than anyone. The Stanford Cardinal out of the ACC. They've got 2-time first-team All-American Cami Minor. She's also a National Player of the Year semi-finalist.
Worth noting, Louisville and Stanford both in the same quarter. They split in the regular season. We mentioned obviously yesterday's match. That was a moot point to the committee, but you could possibly see a rematch between the Cardinals and the Cardinal.
Ooh, we love a little drama, and so does the committee, I bet. This Louisville team sneaking in, getting that top 4 seed. They're led by Anna DeBeer. This is a player that grew up going to Louisville matches. She is from the state. She has a chance to win a national championship in her home city.
Anna DeBeer has been the face of this Louisville program for the last 5 years. She is something special on the outside. She leads by example. Her game face, she is all in every play. Doesn't smile till the game's over, but she gives so much energy back to her team, and she is their leader on the court.
And don't forget, Elena Scott also is a Louisville native. She is a semifinalist for the National Player of the Year. She's their libero.
I think she's one of the best liberos in the country, without a doubt, and she makes it look so unbelievably easy, whether that's in serve receive, as a passer, or as a defender. The two of them wanted to come back this season, Anna DeBeer particularly, because she knew that this Final Four was going to be in the KFC Yum Center, and she wanted to lead her team back to a potential national championship game.
All right, so from the Cardinals to the Cardinal, Cami Minor, and I've got 2 setters up here. So, of course, we're doing a breakdown on Cami Minor.
Of course we are. Cami Minor is dynamic. She keeps her team in system, whether it's a bump set, whether she's on her knees. She knows how to feed her hitters, and she's got new hitters in new positions, but she has found a rhythm with them, and they've only gotten better as the season's gone on.
They feed off her energy. They go as she goes. Obviously, having Aaliyah Rubin as well as a force on that outside pin is so valuable. But I have to say, moving into the ACC, that made waves, but their travel schedule was daunting. Physically, mentally, emotionally taxing. They traveled some 25,000 miles in ACC play alone. The fact that they were able to weather that and play so well and position themselves like the way that they did, I just hats off to Stanford, because that was a big undertaking and they nailed it.
All right, so half the field has been revealed. We still have half of the bracket to go, and some teams still, are we starting to bite our nails? Are we sitting on our hands? Sweating a little bit?
Definitely sweat.
We'll reveal the other half of the bracket when we come back.
And we'll be right back.